Today we are going to talk about how to write, add, and subtract equations. Learning target is to be able to solve addition and subtraction equations using the inverse operation. Inverse operation, inverse operations are opposite each other. So, for example, solve an addition equation, use subtraction. Solve the subtraction equation, you would use addition. The subtraction property of equality is when you solve an equation by blank the same number from each side. You're going to subtract. And then for addition property of equality, if you add the same number to each side, the equation, the two sides remain equal. So number 1 says that Ruben and Tara have 245.5 downloaded minutes of music. If Ruben has 132 minutes, how many belong to Tara? Write and solve an addition equation to determine how many minutes belong to Tara. So Ruben and Tara have music, right? So if they both, remember, and means addition, and both of theirs totals 245. So they both have a total of 245 minutes of music. So those are the words that's happening right now. And so then we have to determine variable. And for variable, we pick T to represent minutes. And Tara's minutes specifically, because we know Ruben's minutes are 132. Let me do that where you can actually still see the minutes. So if I have an equation here, a bar diagram tells me that the whole thing is 245.5. We know Ruben's right here, but we also need to know Tara's minutes. So the reason why you see a subtraction sign here is because we have this total thing and we have to take Tara's away from Ruben's. But if we were going to write it properly and have the equal sign and the total on one side, then we go back to the fact that we take these two people's minutes and we add them together. So we have Ruben plus we have Tara and their total. And then we solve by using that inverse operation of subtracting 132 from both sides. And so that we see that 113.5 minutes belong to Tara. And to check, you would add these two together and see that that is correct. So let's try one ourselves. At age 25, Jeremy was the youngest person to travel into space. This is 52 years less than the oldest person to travel in space. John Glenn. How old is John Glenn? Write and solve a subtraction equation. So remember, subtraction equation lets us know that we're going to be subtracting on both sides. So we want to pull the most important information out, and it's 52 years less. Remember, then means to switch. The oldest person. So that means that if I'm writing this out, the oldest age minus 52. I'm sorry, minus the youngest is 52. Is that equal sign? So then we need to decide a variable. Remember, your variable is the unknown. So what is unknown? Well, we know the youngest age is 25. So the unknown is the oldest age. So here would be the oldest age. We can't use O because that looks like a 0. So we're going to say let A represent the oldest age. So for our bar diagram, we have to decide what are we looking for? What we're looking for is age, right? So we have this thing A that represents the age of this oldest person. And in our story, it says that the age of the oldest person is our 25-year-old and our 52 years less than. So our 52 years. And together, that gives us our age. So let's go ahead and write an equation. So what do I know? I know that the oldest age minus the youngest age of 25 is going to give us our 52-year difference. So let's go ahead and solve this, writing A minus 25 equals 52. And remember, our first step would be to draw your line down the equal sign. Our operation is subtraction, so that means that we're going to add on both sides to get the variable by itself. We would add 25 on both sides, and A equals, we have to borrow here, 12 minus 5 is 7, making that a 4, and then 4 minus 2 is 20. So A equals, and I just realized my mistake. I told y'all that we are adding, and then what did I do? I subtracted. So this should say, I was like, that's not oldest age. That's why we label things so we know what they mean. So sorry, we add 5 plus 2 is 7, 5 plus 2 is 7. That makes a little bit more sense, making sure that our answer makes sense. A equals 77 represents our oldest age. Number 3, Julie and Lynn went swimming. Julie swam 575 meters, and this is 150 more meters than Lynn swam. Write and solve an addition equation and determine the number of meters that Lynn swam. So this is what we're looking for right here. My pen went out. We don't know what Lynn swam. So we could even say, we could go straight to that to variable. We could say we're talking about meters of Lynn. So let M represent Lynn's meters. Okay, so then we take our question and we put it into a variable. And then to write, we need to know what's going on. And what's going on is that we have 150 meters plus, because it says more than, Lynn's meters. Is Julie's. Is equals, remember, Julie's meters. So bar diagram, here we're saying that we have a total of Julie and Lynn went swimming, and Julie swam 575 meters. This is 150 more meters than Lynn. So that means that that's the biggest. So Julie's is 575 meters, takes up the whole bar. Okay, so then we know that 150 more meters, and then we know the rest is what Lynn's meters are, right? So that's M. So when we take Lynn's meters and we add 150 to it, we get Julie's meters. So our equation would be to take 150 meters, add it to Lynn's, and that gives us a total of 575, which happens to be Julie's. Okay, so 150 plus M equals 575. I want you to press pause and solve that. Press play when you have finished. Okay, you should have gotten that M equals 425 meters. And that's how far Lynn swam. Last one. George's height is 4 inches less. 4 inches less than means to switch Sienna's height. Georgia is 58 inches tall. Write and solve a subtraction equation to find Sienna's height. So again, we can take Sienna's height and know that that's what we're looking for. So we can say let H represent Sienna's height. Okay, and then we need to know what we're looking for, right? So we need to know that what's going on. So here we have 4 inches less than Sienna's height. So we know George, which is George's height. So Sienna's height is minus 4. So I'm just taking this right here, Sienna's height minus 4 is whose height? George's. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. I want you to do the bar diagram, the equation, and solve. And we will check this tomorrow in class. After you do that, you have 2 questions to answer.